People ask me all the time, what about time management? How do you manage your time? It's very simple, you don't. The only thing you can manage is what do you do with the time you have?
You have a really amazing ability to kind of identify people by their strengths.
Learning to understand how others, particularly people who are very different from me, how they think and how they behave and how they act, that was one of the biggest lessons for me. If I say the right thing, but you don't hear what I'm saying, it doesn't matter what I say. I was crazy introvert. It only took me about 15 years to learn how to smile. So
can you smile for us?
Welcome to Biztainment by Anni and Vani. Today we have Mads Singers, a very close friend and also one of the most lovable person in the industry. He's also the CEO and founder of SEO Mastery Summit, Mads Singers Management, Aristo Sourcing, and Hey Ramp. Thank you for joining us, Mads.
I am super excited to be here. I always love having great conversations with amazing people.
Yes, thank you. So Mads, just a quick, before we start, how do you know Anni and how long have you known her for?
I have known Annie for years. I remember the first time we met was at some small coffee table. I had just started dating my amazing partner, Annie.
Another Annie?
Who is also Annie.
Annies are amazing.
Annies are the best, apparently. We had just started dating and we went to this meetup for content creators and we ended up bumping into Annie. We sat down and had a bit of a chat and straight away, obviously, Annie's aura and her charisma is very hard to overlook. So we met the first time and ever since then we have been pretty good friends.
Oh my God, he is playing it so low key, but Mads over here changed my life completely. He's helped me level up my mindset and my business and helped me grow in my personal relationship as well. When I got let go from my previous position as a social media manager, I was a little bit lost. I was trying to figure out how to get clients. I had some, but it was really because of Mads' network and his introduction to Otis Global that I really found my footing. And so, Mads, you changed my life.
Well, you finally found a good home.
But the one thing that really hit it for me was when I was a little lost, you said something so kind. You said it in such a kind way, but it was hard hitting. You said, Annie, you like to play small games.
Is that true? What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, as humans, we're very simple. We let our brain cage ourselves, right? So reality is most people walk within the boundaries that we see people around us follow, right? So the thing is, when you look at some very exceptional people, and I don't necessarily mean they're good humans, but just people doing things that most others don't. So when you look at someone like Elon Musk, he is not just successful because he's rich or because he's very smart. He's successful fundamentally because he unlocks the cage. He doesn't see the limitation for himself that most people put on himself. Because reality is that when you're looking at whatever you're doing in life, right? Naturally we look at other people around us and say, what have other people accomplished? I can probably do something similar. But the problem is when you surround yourself with people who haven't necessarily done amazing things or haven't necessarily stood out in some way, then you're way more likely to not be able to see yourself create something amazing or do something that is, 3 levels above where you are right now. So fundamentally for me, it is the ability to envision things that no one else is doing and building it in your head, not that you can do it, but that you're going to do it, right? So a lot of my life, I live life on very different terms. I live life in very different ways. A lot of people would look at my life and say, why do you do that? For me, there's 2 core aspects. One of them is one, learning to get to know myself and who I am, and be myself very unapologetically, right? So a lot of people hide a lot of themselves. We all have things about ourselves we're proud of. We all have things about ourselves we're a bit like
Ashamed of, right?
ashamed of.
Yeah.
But we do, right?
Yeah.
We're humans. Our biggest problem as humans is we know what's in our head,
Yeah.
right? We know all our horrible thoughts, and we know all of that, and therefore we have a very easy time judging ourselves. We have a very easy time putting ourselves down and be like, oh, everyone else is great. I have these bad thoughts. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Or every human on the planet have shitty thoughts,
Yeah.
right? But the ability to build yourself up in your mind and learning to see yourself in situations that have never existed and that no one else have done is an incredible power to work on. And you can do things such as meditation, but fundamentally it's about, or at least for me, it's been about sitting down and saying, what is the life I want? Right? Like as I said, I do life a lot different. I have very different, like the way I treat friends, the way I treat people is very simple. I treat people like how I want to be treated, right? And a lot of the time, people, when it comes to relationships, people are always looking for, what can I get? It's like, hey, you do something for me, I do something for you.
Yeah.
It's
Transactional.
it's always transactional, right? And people go to these networking and they're like, yeah, I help this person, so they're going to help me back, right?
Yeah.
But for me, that's such a flawed mindset, because reality is in life, like, the energy you give out to the world, that comes back, right? Like I've always, the more people I've helped, the more successful I've been. Not because of helping and not necessarily because of those people, but it's like rings in the water, right? You put a drop and it just expands. And I think fundamentally that's the capability. And I run many companies. I'm never bored, but I spend and invest a significant amount of time with people, because for me, that is the game changer, right? Like when you invest time in people, those are the things that, one, helps you expand your mind, but two, also really help you. It helps you take things to the next level in terms of connecting, in terms of learning from other people. A lot of time for me, what I love about people is they can make me think different. They look at things in a different way, and I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. So I had a dinner last night with Matt Diggity and Justin Cook, and we were just, we were sitting having some of these normal life conversations, but some of those conversations that most normal people never have.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was very exciting. So like Matt have a couple of kids, Justin and Isa, looking in that direction, and the same for ourselves. And it was such an interesting conversation with me, Justin and Matt, saying, hey, how do we become a better dad?
Yeah.
How do we raise kids the right way? Like, and these are some of the things these are the most important things in life, right? Like there's nothing more important than this stuff. But when you look around it, I see very few men talk about this.
That is very true.
So as an example, like just creating yourself a friendship circle with people, with many people who think differently, who behave differently, fundamentally helps you become a better human.
More intentional. I feel like for me and my family with my dad, they didn't have a lot of the time or energy to be more intentional with our upbringing. So it was really nice to be a part of like a group where we have the time and space to be intentional with our lives and ultimately for our families.
It always comes down to prioritization, right? Because like if you look at it, if you say someone like Barack Obama, who was the president of the United States, even at the point where he was still reading, he was still learning, right? Now, arguably one of the most busy men on the planet, but a lot of the time success in life, and here's the thing, I do a lot of stuff, right? All the time, a lot of stuff. But even when you're busy, understanding what are the things that really matter and taking out the time to, one, do those things exceptionally well, and two, make sure you prioritize the things that matter. What happens to most people is stuff come at them and they deal with what's coming instead of what matters and instead of what's important.
Reactive rather than...
It's reactive, right? So for me, the number one, people ask me all the time, what about time management? How do you manage your time? It's very simple, you don't. You don't manage time. It happens 1 second at a time and you have no control over it. The only thing you can manage is what do you do with the time you have? AKA prioritization,
so interesting.
management.
That's very different from what I've been hearing, so far.
But that is, when it comes to success in life, it's not how do I do more in the time I have, it is how do I do the right things that really matters in the time I have. And that's obviously why I'm here today.
Wow, thank you, Mads. You know what? I really resonate with the part where you say that you like to hear what other people say, because that gives you a very different point of view on just not on things, but just in general in life, right? Because I think as humans, we are so stuck with our own ways and of doing like things in our, the way we want.
Culture.
Right?
Like we're stuck in culture because reality is when we grow up, everyone tells us what to do and how to do it.
Thank you. Yes.
And that sits in our minds.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like that sits in our minds. And
Yeah.
reality is that culture is not good or bad, it just is.
Right.
But one of the core things for me for both traveling, I mean, I've been over half the countries in the world. I've met a lot of people with different backgrounds, with different cultures. And the core aspect for me is, wait a minute, sometimes there are things we do, and I mean we as in me and my culture people,
Yeah.
that make no sense.
Right.
Right? Like, let me use a single example. In Denmark, right, we have a very good society, we take care of everyone. But, for example, when people get older, many families park them on some old folks' home and they come visit them once a month. Whereas when I moved to Asia, you see all these grandparents and these great-grandparents being part of the upbringing of children.
Right, yes.
But just again, the observing of different people doing different things, picking out from that what you want and say, wait a minute, this is how I will do things. Because to me this resonates, to me this makes sense.
Yes.
How has Vani or I changed your perspective?
In multiple ways. So
That's an answer.
So smart.
when I first met Vani, for example, she was, we probably met, we met here in Saigon, right? And she started working with one of my friends, and I didn't know too much about what she was doing. But as soon as we started having conversations, I very quickly saw her drive and her ability to do things. And for me, the biggest thing she helped change for me was really in terms of how she approached things. I'm a very cautious person by nature. I want to figure everything out before I do it. And some of the conversations we had with Vani was very much around, I'll jump into it, I'll do it, I'll figure it out. And by nature, I'm not that guy. By nature, I'm very cautious. And just the energy from her of saying, I'll figure it out, I'll go do this thing. And same when she got a new job. She was like, of course, she is insecure, like everyone, right? Everyone that start a new job in a new area, you're insecure. That's natural. But the way she just jumps at it, the way she just goes.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, that's very inspirational because, again, it's very different than who I am.
Yeah.
The way I operate is I think I learn. I do a lot of stuff to prepare because I hate making mistakes. And that's one of my biggest personality flaws is that I hate making mistakes because it holds me back. Right? Now, I'm very conscious of it, but seeing other people who are just jumping into opportunities like that is very, very refreshing, and it gives me a great view of how I can do better and how I can learn how to push myself in that direction.
Yeah. Vani, you are quite a confident and secure young woman. Ever since I met you, you've just been moving through life like so brave, just climbing up the mountains, like literally,
Thank you.
right? And getting to know you more, I realized like you've been working on your mindset, and learning from you, my mindset has also become more secure. It helped me identify that I had quite an insecure mindset, and being near you has made me feel more confident. Like, yeah.
And from you, Annie,
Oh gosh.
I've learned a lot more about love. So about the last 3 years or so, I've spent a lot of time in terms of personal development and so on. Also very inspired by Matt Diggity. And I've been through a lot of sort of both mental meditations, and I've gone through a bunch of interesting experiences. And one of the things I'm full of love. I have ray of love within me, right? And I try and shine that on people. But I used to be very shy telling people that I love you. And I think it was very much like some of the experience I went through very much in childhood. Like I always knew my parents loved me, but they didn't necessarily say it a lot. And therefore I've often in life, I've felt that, you can show someone you love them, but you don't have to tell them. But I would say the last 2 or 3 years, I've become a lot more comfortable telling people that I care about, that I love them.
Yeah.
And I was very inspired. Like when I first met you, you have always been very emotional and vulnerable, and you've always been very comfortable telling people that you love them and care about them. Yeah. So for me, that was one of the biggest inspirations coming out of you. And that was also just seeing it. Because even though I feel it all the time, there's a difference between I thinking to myself, oh, I should say it,
Yes.
versus saying it. And seeing people around me say it definitely made it a lot easier for me to do so.
Wow.
And I actually agree to it because she's so vocal about just showing love. I love you. Bye. See you later. I just love it. And I've seen you doing that. I've noticed. Oh my God. Yeah. That makes
But you've probably seen me do it the last 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
Not so much prior to that.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't remember before, but just recently I've seen, okay, bye, love you. I've seen you doing that.
Aw.
So it's really nice. Wow,
really
that's a very
sweet.
beautiful thing
But
to
this-
notice.
Like one of the biggest things for me in this world is that human beings like love. Like when you look at the depression rate, when you look at all this stuff, fundamentally, so many human beings like love.
Yes, for sure.
And I'm very blessed in many ways. So I'm very blessed as in I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of people that care about me a lot and love me. But at the same time, I see a lot of people who don't. Right? Like I see so many people who are confused. I see so many people who, let's call them black sheeps.
Yeah.
Right? They don't fit in where they are. They're not normal in their circumstances. But they're obviously just as amazing as everyone else, right? Like every human being, you have people who you connect with and people you don't connect with, right? You do. Yeah. But reality is that every human has something to contribute,
Yes.
right? And I really appreciate finding people with these unique angles. I really appreciate getting to know people who look at life differently and who's like, hey, people don't like me because this, and this. And I'm like, no, people like you, but maybe not the one around you right now. But there's people out there who are exactly like you, or there's people out there who are looking for exactly what you're looking for.
Yes.
This wrap backs around to our insecurity of feeling like a freaking weirdo. Because, like, I think when you found me, I was feeling like a freaking weirdo too. And that's why I'm like hiding from society, why I kind of hide from you a little bit. I was just like, I'm a weirdo.
I
Like,
always take you out from your shell.
yeah, you always have to
You're
pull me
always
out.
like, come back here.
Yeah.
I think like the biggest personal development I've been through is learning to figure out who I am and becoming really, really comfortable with that, right? Because reality is we always try and fit in. That human nature is you try and fit in. If you see a group of people standing jumping, you're way more likely to go and stand jumping with them, right? Because human nature is fit in,
Yeah.
right? We don't want to be the odd one out in general. But learning to trust ourselves and to say, hey, there's a certain way I want to live life. There's a certain way that I believe I want to treat the world around me. And learning to do that is, for me, it's been such a game changer. Because for me, walking through life, and I say that on purpose, but walking through life, being me in the way I want to be, and being very comfortable with some people don't appreciate that.
Yes.
Some people don't like the way I am. Some people don't agree with the way I am. And I am totally comfortable with that. Because reality is, for me, we can spend so much of our life pretending. But reality is that we only get one shot at this thing. At least until someone shows me otherwise, right? So I'll take life as a one-shot deal at this point. And if we spend time fitting in places where we don't actually want to be, we're doing the wrong thing. And this is one of the biggest lessons I had from traveling and moving. I mean, I left Denmark already at 18, right? And one of the biggest lessons I have is we grow up with a group of friends.
Yeah.
But that is not a chosen group of friends. That is a group of friends that we grew up with, and they were physically near us, and therefore they are our friends. But what I've seen happen to human character is that you grow as a person, but when you meet someone, that's who you are around them in the future. A good example is when you guys go back and visit your parents right now, you turn 15 again. Like the way you feel when you're in your parents' living room, you feel 15.
Yeah, that's why I don't like going back home.
You mean 1-5?
1-5.
Oh, yes.
Now, here's the thing. The parent thing is that everyone feels it. But in principle, it's the same around your friends. When you met a good friend of yours at 15, you're still a lot of the time the same person you were at 15 with them. You're still the same person. And the reason is we mirror ourselves in other people. And if you're the funny one, if you were the funny one at 15, and let's say you had met Vani at 15 and you're the funny one, every time you're around Vani, you're still trying to be the funny one.
That's interesting.
The beautiful thing with physically moving, getting out of your comfort zone, people always say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I believe in that wholly. Now, I believe that the simplest way to grow is to remove yourself from your situation and create a new one. You can go out there, even if you stay in the same physical location, you can look around your friends and say, wait a minute, it's not that these are bad people, but these people are not the ones I want to be like, right? And that's hard. Because sometimes, a lot of time for humans, we identify ourselves with the people around us. Our identity comes from people around us. But I've had to physically move to different place, to different country, multiple times. And what happens is, I grow. I meet a person, and then I grow. But I stay this person as long as I'm around those people. Yeah. The second I move, it's like you reinvent yourself. You suddenly become the most up-to-date version of you. And the people you meet at that point see the latest version of you.
So moving and traveling is like a software update for your brain.
It is in the sense that it's around it's about learning to surround yourself with other people,
Yeah.
right? This happened for a lot of people in relationships. A lot of the time when you're in a relationship, you might feel, I've grown so much, but my partner still see me as this confused little human we were
Yeah,
that
we were
when
just
we met.
talking about
That is
that.
crazy. I was just telling her the same thing before this podcast.
Yeah.
So with relationship, people see you every day, right? So they don't see your growth. Like my partner Annie, she always asks me, have I lost weight? I'm like, I don't know, because I see you every single day.
Yeah.
Right? When I see a friend who used to be this and is now this, I notice. Because you haven't seen him for a long time. But when you see a person every day, even yourself, right? If I look back at how much have I developed the last month, I'm like, I see nothing.
Yeah.
But when you look at people around you, or if you take longer periods, let's say you look back 5 years and you're like, oh my fucking God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You can see the difference in 5 years, but we don't notice things that are close to us, right? And that's the same thing with people. A lot of the time, we don't notice the change in people who are very close to us. And that could be family.
That
could be
happened
friends.
with me too. And I was having issues with my partner, Matt, and I couldn't see him. Well, when we were talking, we share a lot about relationships and stuff and relationship troubles that we're going through. And at some point, I started seeing my partner as like not ambitious enough. And I'm just going out there, going to conferences, meeting people. And I felt that he was lagging behind. And you so kindly understood and heard me out and then told me, hey, Annie, he's doing better than you. And I was just like, what? Explain to me. And then you do your crazy personality trick where you helped me identify something about me, which is like, I'm a hare, like I like to go fast, but my partner is not that. And it's really unkind and unfair for me to expect him, who is like a hare, to be, who is more like a tortoise, moving at his own pace, doing everything step by step, which you are as well too. And I like have so much respect for you. And then that helps me kind of understand my partner more by shifting that perspective in our relationship. And you do that for so many of your friends. How do you do that? Like, your secret.
I was about to say it's the gray hair.
It's gray hair.
No, it's experience.
It's such a
right?
psychological thing, though.
Yeah, but
How do you actually
Yeah.
understand people's traits and
So-
then
So here's the thing. To me, life matters. I see a lot of people around me where I feel they don't take life serious. Now, I'm not saying you have to take the world serious every moment of every day. I love having fun, right? But I treat life as something that it's the most important thing in my world.
Yeah.
Right? And that is why I spend significant amount of time both on personal growth and development, but particularly spending time with people around me. Because reality is we learn from humans by talking to them, by having not like, hey, how's the weather? Have you watched this TV show, right? Like, that's not how we learn. But we learn about humans by having deep, real conversations. And most people are too afraid. They're too afraid to expose themselves. So they're too afraid to say, hey, my relationship is not great right now. Or they're too afraid to say, hey, I don't actually love myself right now.
Oh shit, yeah, that's real.
Right? Or saying, hey, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm jumping into this thing. Like, Anni, I don't know what's going on. I'm jumping into this thing. I don't know what I'm doing. And here's the thing, speaking it out loud. Speaking out your fears, right? Like it helps you. It helps you not just face them, but it helps you to see they're not that dangerous. As human beings, most of us, and this is key. Most of us live either in the past and judging our old mistakes, or we live in the future and we are constantly dealing with anxiety of what can go wrong or what will go wrong or all the things we're expecting. But reality is, when you learn to be present, when you learn to be right here, right now, as yourself, and having real conversations with people around you, you're not going to change their life. Well, you might, but you're going to change your life. Right? And here's the thing. I have so many friends, male and female and everything in between. I have so many friends that I've learned so much from. And a lot of the time they don't realize. Because it's not, learning is not like, oh, I mean, sometimes you have a breakthrough moment, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the time it's stacking up like 100 different things and being like, you know, you're slightly changing your view on things, or, you know, you're slightly like, oh, maybe I should try this thing. And for me, that is the game changer of life, right?
You gave me one game changer too, which is being more open to expressing when I need help. So being this quote unquote weirdo and isolating myself, there's a lot of like, oh, I can do this myself kind of thing. And fear of like exposing myself, like, oh man, I don't really know how to do this. I don't want people to see. But then the moment where like I could come to you and expose myself and say like, I need help, you helped me expand my reality by seeing how a network of friends can actually make us better people, right? And I think that's a gift that I want everyone to know. It's just like, you don't have to be alone and struggle alone, because there's only limited growth in this pocket. But you're like, I have so many friends. I have so many answers. Like, there's no shame.
Yeah, and I think it's just, again, human growth, right? Like, I've been coaching for many, many years. And one of the core things is we often give other advice that we don't take ourselves. Like when your friend come to you and she said, oh, I had this problem in my relationship, it's often clear to you what the problem is. It's like, why are you being stupid? Right? That's often how it is. But us looking at someone else is so much easier than us looking at ourselves. Right? So the whole thing is that a lot of the time, just sitting down, having those conversations, sharing those feelings, getting feedback from others. So often, others see the answer to what you should be doing crystal clear. Now, one caveat, they see it through their lens, which is okay. But the whole point is, if you share trouble, you often get a lot of simple solutions. And a lot of the time, those simple solutions are so much simpler to implement than you necessarily think. And this is why, for me, this is why relationships, it's why like having strong friendships is so important, right? Like I have thousands of friends spread all over the world, and some of them I don't see very often. But even when I see them, I never think about, oh, I haven't seen this guy for 2 years, you know, I'm gonna be a little bit cautious. Like when I meet people, I am in 100%. Right? I am not, I mean, we all have things we are afraid of sharing from our deep insides, right? But I try and be as open, and I try and be as much myself as I can. And like the amount of times where I've been at some event or I've been traveling around, I meet some random person and, you know, we might start having conversation at midnight, and at 6 a.m. we're just still sitting talking, right? That happened for me hundreds of times in my life. And it's not just about the person. A lot of the time it's the situation. A lot of the time you need to hear certain things at a certain point in time, right? And sometimes it can be a random stranger, and sometimes it can be your best friend. Here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Most people are too afraid to open up, be themselves, and be real. When you get the courage to be yourself with other people without thinking of how they might take advantage or all of that stuff. Just do it. As kids, we're always told, be afraid of strangers. As kids, we're often told, oh, well, if you open up to someone, they may take advantage.
Yeah.
If you borrow someone money, they might not pay them back. We're taught all these lessons of how afraid we should be of other humans.
Yeah.
And we still do as adults. I feel like people still, say this kind of stuff like, yeah.
Well, you have a really amazing ability to kind of identify people by their strengths. And like you do this with everyone and you can pinpoint it immediately, whether they're like an influential person or a dominant person or a steady person or a conscious person. Like, how do you put all that together in moments to identify what someone is?
So I was lucky enough in my early 20s to learn the DISC behavior framework. And that's been such a game changer for me in many ways. I'm very, very logical by nature. I'm not naturally a very emotional person. And I used to really struggle to, quote, understand humans. As in the sense that I understood why I did what I did, but I did not understand why people would do something different than me. I didn't understand why someone would make stupid choices when I could make smart choices. Now, obviously, my understanding of other people at the time was, well, I'm doing the right thing, and if they're not doing the same as me, they're obviously doing the wrong thing, right? Or if they don't think the same way as me. Now, I'm obviously putting it on the edge, right? But that was fundamentally my mindset, and learning to understand how others, particularly people who are very different from me, how they think and how they behave and how they act, that was one of the biggest lessons for me. Because every time I'm like, oh my God, why would someone do that? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, now I know why, and I understand why they would do it, and therefore it makes sense.
But was it like some kind of experience or something you saw in the other person?
No,
Made you realize?
it's just been a learning lesson of learning and understanding DISC behavior, and then just looking at and observing and talking with thousands of people. Okay. So for me, it's just I definitely put people in boxes. 100%, but it helps me so much in understanding how they think, how they're motivated, how they communicate, and it helps me understand them at a deeper level than sometimes even they understand themselves. Because again, the mirror is really difficult, right? A lot of the time it's like, oh, we don't understand why we do what we do. But just like this, what I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's so much easier to look at another person than to look at yourself, right? So being an external person, looking at other humans, you probably have an even better grasp of an ability to understand them than they actually can themselves, just because you're this external pair of eyes.
So you first learned human behavior, and then you created DISC management for other people
No,
to
it was
understand?
an existing system. So it's back from the 1940s, so it's been around for many, many years. I'm not that old.
Of course, you're like 18?
18, yes. Again. DISC was just, again, I'm a very logical person, and having a simple framework it made the world understandable for me. Okay. Right? And it made people understandable, because I like having conversations. When I was young, like I was crazy introvert. I still am an introvert, but having learned...
Are you?
I am very introvert. But having learned people, I've learned how to fake it. It only took me about 15 years to learn how to smile. So...
Can you smile for us?
It's my photo smile.
I didn't know you were an introvert.
So here's the thing. I spent about 15 years when I was living in Ireland and the UK learning how to smile. And here's how I did it. Like, I was consciously aware that I wasn't smiling. And I got many comments on it when I was younger. I was always like, are you happy? Are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm amazing. What's wrong?
Oh, you had resting bitch face.
You're not smiling. And I'm like, well, I'm smiling in my head. Like, what does that matter?
How do you smile?
Well, I'm just happy. Like, I always tell people I'm retardedly happy all the time.
Yeah.
And I am. But it didn't show on my face.
Oh.
So what I literally did, like, I would go into Dublin where I used to live. I would walk down the street and I would just smile. Like, I would literally, in the beginning, when I started smiling, I felt like, like the Joker. Like, I felt like this. I felt my smile was up here. I felt like I looked like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because I'd never done it.
Oh my God. But didn't it feel like that was a fake smile, or were you like practicing how to smile?
I'm honest, it took me at least 15 years to become relatively decent at smiling.
That's great.
I still fake it most of the time.
Wow. I think that's what I learned too, that
You think it was at the time? I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm learning new things about Mads.
yeah, I feel like the difference between like, okay, what am I trying to say? Is that personal development is like taking yourself where you're at and then honoring yourself and then leveling up. Like, yeah, sure, I may be introverted, but like that doesn't define me. These are the actions. 15 years to get yourself to this level where you're comfortable going outside and meeting thousands of friends.
Yeah, I've been comfortable doing that for a period of time because I invested significant time. So at 18, I got an amazing manager and I was like, oh, I want to do what she does. And every freaking management book I read talked about networking. And all I wanted to do was to sit in my room and read books.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, there's some disconnect here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's something that doesn't really match here. And like, I spent significant amount of effort. Three things I learned: how to talk to people, how to communicate better, and how to learn to push myself out there. Those three things, right? So by nature, I'm a horrible verbal communicator. Like, everything happens in my brain or everything comes out through my fingers.
Yeah.
So for me, learning to communicate verbally was very difficult. And I still do, but I spent more than 10 years trying to learn public speaking. So I spent 10 plus years doing like Toastmasters and for a lot of people, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm afraid of speaking, I'll go do it. For me, it wasn't about speaking. For me, the reason joining Toastmasters was communication. It was learning how to communicate. When you look at every major company and you look at the sales department versus the developers, those two departments can never communicate because they speak different languages. What I learned, so I'm from the nerdy developer kind of the world, and what I learned was communicating with other people. And by learning that, I learned a skill that make me, in the business world, make me incredibly valuable. Because I could talk to these nerdy people. I could actually explain to them in human language what we needed. And I could take what they were saying and communicate to the people who actually needed it in a sensible manner. And that was one of the big values that I learned for myself early on, right? So I still, on a very regular basis, go and practice public speaking. I do a lot of speaking. I do 20 conferences a year, so I do a lot of speaking. But for me, it's not just about standing on a stage.
Yeah.
It is practicing verbal communication. I say that to a lot of people, but being really smart and unable to communicate what's in your head, you might as well not be smart.
Yeah.
And I tell myself that frequently because I love learning things. I love putting people in my head, putting things and knowledge in my head. But I'm constantly reviewing with myself, am I using the things I learn to take action and make the world a better place, or am I simply putting it in my head because I enjoy doing it?
Yeah, I guess if you're not giving it back, then it's kind of like
Here's the
doesn't
thing.
make much
The
difference, right?
smartest people on this planet are incredibly smart and incredibly poor communicators. There's a clear distinction. The higher your IQ is, the worse a verbal communicator you are. If you ever look at an interview with Elon Musk, you would realize that he have a really high IQ because his ability to verbally communicate is difficult. Now, he's a very inspiring person to some people in his own way. But when you look at it, like, if he could stand on a stage and be clear and concise, if he had more ability to persuade people instead of just being extremely logical,
What advice would you give to Elon Musk? Communication advice for Elon Musk. Go. Top 3.
do more. For me, it's very, very simple. It is just a question of go out there and do it. Like public speaking, force yourself on a stage on a regular basis. Force yourself, because when you get on a stage, if you get feedback from people, what you learn is way better body language. Like I used to be this guy for at least 10, 15 years of my adult life. Wow. I was this guy.
And do you know what was the reason behind it?
It's my nature.
Oh, it's just
Here's the thing.
how you are.
I am comfortable like this. I am comfortable. But just like smiling, I learned that life is about being effective. If I say the right thing, but you don't hear what I'm saying, it doesn't matter what I say. Communication is always what the listener does. So what that means is if I cannot communicate to you in a way that you understand, I might as well not communicate. And that is the fundamental game changer for most humans. Because you might, let's say your partner, right? If you have a partner and you're communicating to them, you might say the right thing. You might say exactly what you mean or what you think. But if they don't understand you, it doesn't matter.
And is that the person who's communicating? Like, are they doing it the wrong way, or is it the person who's listening?
Receiving, yeah.
Yeah, the receiver, right? Is not able to understand their POV. What is it?
As a human being, it is my responsibility to ensure when I'm having conversation with you, that you pick up as much as what I say as possible. Actually, my core strength when I'm communicating with people is I have the ability to communicate in a way they understand. I communicate with all sorts of different people, and my ability to communicate in a way that connects with them. That is humbly what sets me apart with a lot of people. A lot of coaches, they share people what worked for them, even if it's very different people. But the thing is, when you have a coach that's a go-getter and they're all about setting goals and just go at it, if they're coaching someone who's a go-getter, that works fantastically well. If they're coaching someone who is the polar opposite, and they're like, okay, I set a goal, I want to make $10 million, so what happens now? Nothing, right? Because the thing is, as human beings, we're motivated, we communicate so differently. And because we're so different, learning the ability to communicate to another human the way they want to be communicated to. Here's the thing, if I could guarantee you for the rest of your life, when you talk to people, they'll actually understand what you're saying. That would change your entire life.
How do you get there, though? Because I feel like I have one way of talking to someone, and that's the only way. And I'm scratching my head of like, how do I change my mindset or perspective to talk to them rather than at them?
I think it's the wrong perspective. It's not about to them or at them. It is more a question of how do I speak the language this person speaks. Right? Like, language is a very good example. If you speak French and I don't understand French, there's no point. A lot of the time as humans, we do the same thing. Right? One person communicates extremely emotionally, very verbally, and the receiver communicates in written, very logical language. Right? If I had met you at 18, we would not be friends. And I'm saying that confidently because you would not have appreciated me and I would not have appreciated you.
Yeah, because I have a hard time being very logic-minded. I am very emotionally, and I would try to connect to you on an emotional level where if you have zero, then like it would be very hard to do that.
We would not have clicked.
Yeah.
Right? The reason why we clicked when we met is because I have learned to communicate in a way that you understand. And so for me, the core aspects is learning how to communicate better. Public speaking is number one. Learning verbal communication better. Public speaking is number one. And people are like, yeah, it's scary, it's all of this. Here's the thing. If you take your life serious, and if you want to be as successful in whatever human way you can, success is not just money. Successful could be having the best partner, having amazing kids, being able to communicate effectively to your kids. If you want to do that, investing in learning better communication is the single most important thing you can invest in as a human being. And for me personally, like public speaking, it's learning how to be more clear and concise. Like, I'm conscious right now that we are having an interview and I'm yapping all the time.
You're yapping so much.
Right. But I am. Now, learning to be more clear and concise, right? I am way better at this stuff than I was, again, 10, 15 years ago, right? Like, I could have had a monologue of 35 minutes and, you know, I have become, believe it or not, a lot more succinct than I used to be. I've learned, again, utilizing body language. I'm learning even things like tones. Like, I can have a serious conversation with someone sitting staring into a wall and just talking in a monotone voice. I don't need anything else. I don't need to look at people when I talk to them. I simply need to hear the voice and have the conversation. But here's the thing, when I communicate to you guys, you're so strong on facial expressions, you're so strong on body language. The way I play with my vocal variety when we have this conversation makes a difference to you guys.
Yeah.
And that, learning that skill set, it all comes from public speaking. But learning that skill set have made me so much more effective with other people.
That helps me understand me and my partner too. So like Matt, he'll express something, but if he says it with like a little frustration, or I sense the frustration, I instinctively go towards the emotion more of like, oh, you're frustrated, rather than listening to like what he's saying logically. So that kind of just goes out the door, whatever he says, but it's just more like I listen to body emotion, body
Gestures.
more than actually listening to the words they're saying. Which leads me to my next question, which is like, how do you listen better? Because apparently I think I can benefit from being a better listener. Like, you're a really great listener.
Yes, I am by nature because I listen to the words. Right? So I am born a better listener.
Okay.
Can you learn to be a better? Now, here's the thing. I'm born to be a better listener. I'm not necessarily a better communicator. That is a skill that I've learned. Now, you are a better verbal communicator by nature. Becoming a better listener is a skill for you to learn. Now, the biggest thing for you is you naturally speak before you think. And what that means, and that's not, again, it's not good or bad, it just is, right? But because you speak before you think, you don't have a filter. And what that means is that when you say something, the way it comes out people can read everything out of that. They can see how are you, how's your frustration levels, how is your emotions. They can read all of that. When I have a communication, when I communicate with you, I don't listen that much to the words because I know that the way you communicate is not by words. It's not.
I think it comes down to understanding the type of person you're talking to.
Yes,
Be a better communicator.
which is why DISC is such a fundamental framework in everything, because particularly around communication, it helps you understand exactly how the person think, how they behave, how they project themselves.
Can you break down Vani's disc?
Yeah, she's perfect, obviously. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it in a valuable way for the audience, right? But fundamentally, Vani is very straight to the point, very, very direct, right? So as an individual, she doesn't bullshit. Like a lot of time when we have conversations, we can sort of go around circles a little bit. Vani is generally a little bit more direct, right? She's like, her mindset is, and most people take this the wrong way, but she naturally thinks about herself first. So she is naturally thinking, how can I get something out of this situation? So let's say Vani walks into a room, she sees some people, her instinct would be, who can I benefit the most from talking to? Now, might not be her instinct here, but it's her instinct here. So her thought process, if she thinks about it, is who can I benefit the most from communicating with? And that's her natural style. Right? So she would naturally walk into a room, see some people, and she will approach the person that she believes have the highest likelihood of benefiting her. Now, a lot of people hear that and think, oh, that's bad. I'm like, no, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. Our brains work differently. But I understand that when I communicate with Vani, she is looking for purpose. If I start sitting around talking about soccer, I know I'm going to lose her in a second, right? Because she has no interest in it.
Yeah.
And it does not bring any benefit to her. Now, I know that if I communicate with you and I communicate about soccer, but I'm telling you how excited I am about it, and, my team is playing, we are doing this stuff.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Right. I know that if I communicate to you even something you're not interested in, because I can communicate in a very emotional way, we build emotional connection through it. So I can communicate about some of the things that I'm passionate about, even without them being relevant to you. Whereas when I communicate to Vani, I want to communicate in a way that brings value to her and me, right? I want to communicate in a way that again, small talk is useless. She'll do it if it serves a purpose. But
People are going to stop talking to me.
no, but they're not, right? This is the whole thing with humans, right? We all say, I am so bad because blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. When everyone's like, oh, you love helping people, you're such a great person. I'll be like, yeah, I love helping people because it makes me feel fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not helping people because I have some aura that makes me a good human. No. I help people because it makes me feel
You're
good.
a selfish bastard.
No, but here's the problem. Most people like me fail in life because they're so busy helping everyone else, they never take care of themselves. They might be good humans, great. Everyone take advantage of them. Everyone's like, hey, can you help me do this thing? Hey, can I borrow $500? Yeah. Oh, I'll never pay you back, don't worry. Right? The most successful people on the planet have a personality like Vani's, because most successful people think about themselves first. If you don't take care of your health, if you don't take care of your resources, if you don't enable yourself to be strong and be powerful, then you will never help many other people. When you look at someone like Elon Musk, I don't necessarily consider him to be a great person, right? I think when you have a pile of kids and you spend 30 minutes a day with your kids, you're probably prioritizing wrong. But again, that's my belief, that's my glasses. I try and not judge him through it. I judge him based on what I see him achieve, right? And when I look at him, he is so successful because he looks out for himself first. If his mindset was let me help everyone else, he wouldn't. But here's the thing, he changes the life for so many people. Like, I know heaps of people who would love to work for him. And here's the thing, he'll call up people at 2 a.m. in the morning, and if you don't answer in 30 seconds, you're fired, right? But here's the thing, some people freaking love that. So there's some people around him who are ambitious, who are driven, who want to do amazing shit like him, where for he is the best boss they could ever have. And this is the core thing about human beings. We are not good and we are not bad. We just are. And our goal individually is learning to understand who am I and how do I get what I want out of life based of who I am.
I have one last question for you.
Go for it.
How do you know yourself better? I think, are there some ways, are there some things that you do every day or weekly basis to know yourself better?
Number one for me, and it might be different for other people, but number one for me have been having a lot of deep, vulnerable conversations, both with some of my best friends and with people that I've never met before. Our lenses as humans, we look at life from our eyes out. And most of us believe we're right all the time. And the one thing I know is I am not right. I am wearing a pair of glasses. And those are my glasses. Me having deep, vulnerable conversations with other people helped me see life and helped me see things from different perspectives. Some people see success as being a great parent. Some people see success as being rich. Some people see success as having a beautiful partner. We all view success, we all view what life is about in different lenses. And there's nothing right or wrong, but learning and getting to know ourselves is having conversations with other people, saying, interesting, this person look at life this way. Is there something in that that I want to adapt? Is there something in my classes that I want to adjust based on the things I've learned?
So Mads, thank you so much for spending the time and helping us throughout our careers grow and helping our audience expand their mindset too. Thank you so much for everything you do for us and the community.
I think you played a very big role like in my life as well. And I consider you as somebody that I can just trust blindly. And I know you would never judge me. And I know you'll always point me to the right direction. So.
Oh, I judge you all the time.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Well, I should give you a hug.
Yes.
Did you also learn to cry, Mads?
No.
Because I see tears.
Huh?
I have tears too.
Sorry, this is just.
I love you so much. I love you so much. You've done so much for us. I'm trying to learn to do more. So thank you. You push me. No. I love you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
I love you too.
Thank you.